K-Rock, Mid-Atlantic Rock Reviews. We're back with Chris Lane from Station Man, and these guys just rocked out at Rockfest, Wisconsin. Chris, welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me. It's cool to be here. This is our first time.
So, reflect a little bit on the festival. Give me the vibe of this place.
I mean, the vibe. I love these big festivals because you get a lot of people who are just really into music, and that's what they're doing for 3 days. You know, they're not distracted by anything else. People are really receptive. People are very cool to us, very nice to us. So it's awesome. It's a good time for us too because we get to play and then enjoy the rest of the bands and not just have to work the entire time.
Anybody you're gonna go see tonight?
Well, we were really excited to see Delacoma on our stage. That was awesome. And then I'm looking forward to seeing Alice in Chains tonight because I'm a big Alice fan. So.
Yeah, man, we love Delacoma too. Having him on the show this week too as well. So talk about some of the challenges of coming to a show like this. You're way away from home and you got to show up. People don't realize that and play. So what are the challenges of a festival like this?
Well, I mean, I was saying this before, but the hardest thing about a festival is that it's actually just chaos all day. You know, when you go to a regular venue, you load in, you eat, you stop, you play, you stop, you talk. You know, there's a schedule. With a festival, it's complete chaos because you're trying to make everything happen all around the festival at once seamlessly. And they do a good job, but there's no chance to rest until you're done playing. So it's moving the bus, it's doing this, and then you get all hot, you get sweaty, you run around, and at the end of the day, for us, we're never going to be as cool as Del with the Australian accent, so we lose. So
you could fake it.
It's just not fair.
Cool hair.
He's got the hair too. I mean,
you're right.
I don't know. So we're gonna have to plan our booking.
Two players with the cool hair.
This is true. So take that.
So what are you guys up to these days, man? The album, everybody knows it's a MARR Golden Horns Award, nominee for Album of the Year. What are you guys up to right now, writing and recording wise?
Well, right now we're at Rockfest, but when we're not at Rockfest, we're going to start pre-production on another album. But I don't know when that album is going to be coming out because it depends on who we work with to put it out. So we're right now this is the second date of a longer tour for us, and then we come home for a week, and then we go back out for August dates in Philly, and then we go south. So we're going to be away for a while until mid-September. And then actually I anticipate a very long tour at the end of the year, but don't tell my mom that. Yeah, exactly.
So when you guys play in New York, you're the hometown boys, everybody knows you guys. When you come out here, people don't know you. What do you like better? Do you like playing in front of a crowd who's never heard you before, or the front of the hometown folks?
I like playing in front of a crowd of people who bring friends. It's great to play in front of people who have never heard you, and we're very fortunate that people are usually really nice to us afterwards. But the flip side is that there is that 45 minutes of anxiety on stage where it's do they like me? Do they like me? Do they like me? When we do it the other way, and it's just our friends there, and our families, stuff like that in New York, as it gets to a point where you're just kind of what do you want to hear? And it's not as much fun for us because we're not as much entertaining as we are all having an event together. So when people bring friends that we don't know, and it's kind of a mix of people who know the music, like us, new people to hopefully like the music, it's a lot more fun because everybody kind of comes out feeling good.
So talking about the album that's out right now, I think I asked you this before, but do you have a favorite song on the record?
Yeah. My favorite song is I Can't Live Without You. I really like that song because I'm a softie.
And I think you mentioned this before. Tell me a little bit why. Why do you love that song so much?
I like the song because I feel like I'm a firm believer that the sound and the music of the song speaks to the meaning of the song way more than the lyrics, and I think that song matches the meaning of the song with the music the best.
So Patrick just walked up. So hi, Patrick.
Hey, what's going on? Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. So every time I watch you play, there's somebody in the audience that goes, "Oh my God, he was like that guy in the '80s, that did those high-pitched things." So how often do you hear that?
Once a show, at minimum. But it's funny.
That girl in the '80s, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But what's funny is that a lot of times people will come up to me and they'll say that I sound like people who are completely not my influences. For example, and nothing against them. I love TNT. People come up to me and say that I sound like Tony Harnell.
I can totally hear that.
And that's a compliment, for sure. But at the same time, I'm when I didn't know who TNT was when I was learning how to do this. like when I was practicing and like singing and like hitting high notes or whatever, like TNT was not a band that I even knew about, and people are coming up and saying I sounded like him, and like the funny thing is like my influences are like, you know, Dickinson and Halford and Dio. I don't think anybody has ever said I sounded like them.
Yeah, but I could actually get the Tony Harnell thing, so I do kind of understand that.
It's
So
just fate to all come. It's like my Tiger Stripe guitar. I got that guitar before I knew who George Lynch was. So Pat and I are just actually becoming the people that we want to be.
And it's funny
Or
because
that everybody else wants you to be.
It's funny, yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because we were just on the road, you know, not too long ago with Lynch Mob, and Chris actually had the conscious decision. He's like, I'm going to put my Tiger Stripe guitar away for the show because this is not going to end well. Although he did get Lynch approved after
That's
the show,
right.
which is cool.
The band is Lynch approved.
So, like, when old people like me come up to you and say that, like, what do you think? Like, what goes through your head when people say, like, you're, like, from this guy I never heard of?
Honestly, I think it's cool because it buys into the culture really well. Like, you know, if somebody's coming up to me and saying that I sound like, you know, XYZ person, I take that as a real compliment because I know that most of the time they're coming up with a very educated opinion. So if someone says I sound like Tony Harnell, I mean, you know, it is what it is, but at the same time, I know that somebody's sitting there thinking, I have an extensive vocabulary of all these bands, I have a deep knowledge, and I'm able to compare you to somebody, which to me is like, oh, you're paying attention, you're really getting station, you're buying into us. So at the end of the day, I do kind of feel like it's a compliment, you know?
The other side of it too is especially when people come in with really specific ideas about vocals like Tony Harnell, it's because the whole 80s rock community, a lot of people like to guard it as an exclusive club. So when they come up and they say something that's not a singer that, if someone came over and said you sound like Steven Tyler, clearly he doesn't, but I don't know if they're gonna go the route of being like, you sound like a very obscure singer who I relate to, and that kind of signals to us, okay, they want to like talk, you know what I mean? It's a community.
Yeah. So, a New York City band, and here you are, you know, in the Midwest, in the middle, literally, of a farm field. Talk about, like, what it's like, the differences between playing a New York City show and playing this.
There's a lot more Trump posters. No, well, it's great because, you know, the New York City culture is what it is. It's very
It's very diplomatic of you.
yeah, I know exactly. New York City culture is what it is. It's very you know, like rock music in general is valued differently than it is out here. The community that gets together in New York are relatively, they come off as a little elitist, I would say, where everyone's trying to like out obscure each other. But at the same time, when we go out here and we see an entire festival with thousands of people like here for rock music, it's awesome because it's like this just doesn't happen in New York City. It really doesn't. The closest I can think of was there was Governor's Ball a few years back, because they still do it, but it's a little different. A few years back, they had Guns N' Roses as a headliner. That's like the only rock band at a festival that's happened in New York in a long time.
And the other thing too here that's so different is that being from New York, we've kind of learned to appreciate people's time. So, you know, if we have a show, not that obviously, you know, someone doesn't want to come or wants to come, fine, they can have their opinion. We have to compete with their lives, you know, or a Broadway show, or a birthday party, or the fact that they got out of work late. Here, I'm competing with the gyro truck. So, like, you know, because like we're the only thing happening at the time. So it's nice because if the festival organized it where we were playing at the same time as a known name band, it would kill us. So they're appreciative and they're understanding of the fact that we need time.
So before I let you go, I got to ask you about your bass player shirts. Tonight was a new one. They're always new, so tell us about your bass player shirts.
Honestly, he just kind of shows up with them. Like, and I'm being completely serious. Like the past couple of shows, he's just like, okay, you know, oh, Emmy, you need a change. Okay, I'll be right down. And he comes down in a brand new shirt that we've absolutely never seen before. He's never worn it before, and it's got a new funny saying on it. So
He told me he wanted to wear a new shirt every show with a funny saying.
At first, I was very skeptical.
And he told me that. He told me that.
So we played a show in an area that I would have thought would have not appreciated the writing on his show, okay? On his shirt. We're on stage, I look over, I didn't realize he was wearing the shirt. It says, "I'm really a lesbian."
That's
And-
what we had today.
Yeah, that was the night. Yeah.
Well, so I looked at it and I'm just kind of like, oh god, this is not going to go well. We got off stage and there was a line at our merch table and I'm like, oh man, we're selling CDs, this is great. No, they just wanted to know where Emmy got his shirt. So like, I've given up on figuring that stuff out. As long as he's not wearing like assless chaps, he can do whatever he wants. Actually, that might work too.
And in New York, he still needs to wear a shirt that says, "I'm not Mike."
That's true. Actually, they made up. I know I'm pointing to people, and you can't see that I'm pointing, but I am pointing to people. Pointing to Krista and Rebecca, who came with us as merchandise stationettes. They made up shirts that say "lead merch" and "rhythm merch." So that's most excellent.
Awesome. Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys, man. It's so good to see you up here in Wisconsin. Yeah, we always see you on the East Coast, so
Yeah.
good talking to you guys.
Honestly,
Thank you so
next time
much.
tell us ahead of time, and we'll just bring you with us.
Awesome, man. Thank you.